Hi, I'm George Levy, and today I have the great opportunity to speak with Dr. Dianne Tyers, the Dean for the College of Continuing Education for Dalhousie. Dianne, pleasure speaking with you.
Yep, pleasure speaking with you as well.
I actually wanted to talk to you specifically over the fact that Dalhousie's been around for a very long time, and yet you're very cutting edge in the types of programs that you're offering. One of the things I found really interesting about this opportunity and why I wanted to talk to you is that Dalhousie is currently offering sustainable energy technologies and blockchain, two very advanced topics. I wanted to get your take on why did you pursue those angles and these two technologies?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And, we do try to be cutting edge in terms of the courses that we offer. So as the continuing education unit, it really is our job to be market responsive. So what employers need, what employees need, what people need in order to navigate the current world of work, but also the future world of work. That really is our job and our mandate. So we monitor the market and we monitor trends, technology trends, market trends, work and labor force trends. We're continually monitoring those. And then when something jumps out at us as being essential for people to learn and people to know as part of their career building, that's when we jump on that as a topic and a subject area that we want to offer courses in. And obviously the sustainable energies technologies and the blockchain, they really jumped out at us. These are very, very cutting edge topics, and it's part of our mandate to offer these to our market, to our future students.
The key thing that I would say, which is really interesting about your approach with this, so Dalhousie's been around for a long time. You also have physical locations, and yet you're offering these courses online. Now, mind you, given all the COVID and all the global pandemic and just the fact that, physical locations have a hard time, it's very interesting that you're actually offering these online. Can you give me more information on that?
Yeah, we've been offering courses online for many years, and primarily because online courses allow access. So it doesn't restrict people to being in one geographic area, and it also doesn't restrict people to a specific schedule. So another one of our mandates, in addition to offering cutting edge courses, is really to offer accessible courses. And for us, accessible means that people can take them anytime, anywhere, in order to fit into their work schedule, in order to fit into their life schedule. So a lot of our students are working professionals, adults who are doing continuing education and upgrading, and they need accessibility. So online courses are very, very accessible. And I will jump in with one other thing. There's a lot of people who think that online courses are not as rich a learning experience as classroom-based courses. We actually don't believe that. Online courses offer a very, very rich learning experience because you can layer in so many different resources. You can layer in multimedia, different ways of accessing the material. You can layer in text, image, video, audio. You can get discussion boards going. So there's the technology today offers us so many different ways to provide learning experiences to our students in an online environment. It really is a wonderful, rich, enjoyable learning experience.
What's really good about the statement that you just made is the fact that, like, when people typically think, and mind you, just correct me if I'm wrong, so people may think of like going to a website and reading some information, maybe listening to some music, some audio, maybe watch some video, but you mentioned there's additional elements also, maybe like some polling, there's different interaction pieces also?
Yeah, and the interactivity piece is kind of what, to my mind, pushes online experiences over the edge in terms of cutting edge now. I've been following and implementing courses online for 10, 15 years, and initially it was very text-based. Simply took text and put it online, but now the technology allows this really rich interactivity. As you mentioned, you can do polling, you can do discussion boards, you can do synchronous sessions where everybody's in a discussion room. You can have small breakout sessions within a larger discussion. So the technology today really just promotes that interactivity, and that contributes to that rich learning experience.
One thing that's really interesting about the statement that you made, you've actually been around in the online learning space for some time. You mentioned 10 plus years in this?
Yeah.
Within this environment, that's actually like, you're an expert. You're an original gang, OG, as they say. Cool, yeah. I get that. That's great to see.
Yeah, not quite an original gang, but I've been following the technologies. Prior to starting at Dalhousie, I actually used to run an education company, and so as part of that, I followed the online technologies as they emerged. We would test them out. We would figure out, which ones, offer the potential, which ones don't, and how do we integrate these into courses. So, it's been really fun, to be honest, over the last 10, 15 years, just to follow the technology and to follow how online learning experiences have just become just really, really solid and rich learning experiences. Yeah.
One of the things and I meant this in the best of way, because what I'm seeing now is because of the coronavirus pandemic, everybody's now moving over to this online space. So there's a lot of like Johnny come lately guys that just stepped into the game, but you have the experience, you've been around. So these programs you're delivering are actually built on a long foundation of you've already been through this process. So it's not just like version 1.0, you've actually been doing this for some time.
Yeah. And, for these courses, we're partnering with blocksEDU, which is an education organization that specializes in this type of course around these cutting edge technologies. And, one of the things that attracted us to blocksEDU as a partner is that they do use the online learning experience to its utmost. And so, sometimes when we look at potential partners, we have to backfill and add in pieces to the online learning experience. And we don't have to do this with blocksEDU as a partner. So, it is one of the pieces that attracted us to them as a partner, is they know the online learning space as well as we do, and they know how to use it.
That's fantastic to hear, and I'm very, very glad that you brought that up. One of the things that I really find interesting about all this, when we began this whole conversation, we talked about why we were going to sustainable energy technologies, talking about blockchain, but the whole space of emerging technologies, because there are more technologies, and I know that Dalhousie spans across a lot of areas. Where do you see that entire space heading, the whole emerging technologies world heading?
Yeah, I'll preface my answer by saying I am not an emerging technologies expert at all. What I am is, I'm an expert at scanning the market and trying to identify what adult learners need to learn in order to navigate that world of work.
That's a great point.
So that really is my perspective around emerging technologies. I don't know, I don't delve into how they work or anything like that. What I identify with emerging technologies is what do people in the workforce need to know about them?
Sure.
So whether it's, whether I'm a frontline person, whether I'm a middle manager, an executive level, in an executive level position, whether I run my own business, what do I need to know about these emerging technologies and how that is going to affect how I do my work and what I need to know in order to do my work. So that's really the lens that across the college, we look at these emerging technologies through that lens.
That's actually a great point. In the grand scheme of things, rather than just learn useless information, you actually focus on what do the needs require, and then you basically teach on that. That's a great point. Great point.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just expand on that a bit. The average person is not going to be a technology expert, but the average person needs to know how those technologies impact their lives on a daily basis. And that's really what we want to focus on is what do people need to know about these technologies so that they can navigate the world today, because
Sure.
the world today is changing so quickly.
Absolutely.
And a lot of this change is technology driven. And so if we're going to continue to have rewarding careers and, to grow professionally and learn professionally, this is what we really have to be tapped into. And it's once again, it comes back to our job at Dalhousie University College of Continuing Education. Our job is to flag this for people. Yeah.
So actually that brings up a great point, because in the grand scheme of things, your focus is primarily needs-based and specifically workability. What does the workforce require? And you basically help people and train them to those objectives.
Yeah, and we operate in this space that's called the lifelong learning space or the life-wide learning space. There's a lot of buzzwords around this need that we have just to continually learn. Even 20 years ago, it used to be okay that you would finish your primary degree and you'd go into the workforce, and that was enough, and you could build a career around that. It's not enough today. You have to continually reorient yourself, check where you are in terms of how the world around you is changing, identify your gaps. What do you need to learn? What do you need to know? This lifelong learning space, it's a space I've operated in my entire career, and I love it because it's so rapidly changing. It's so exciting. And it's so vital now for every adult to engage in this space in order to have that rewarding career.
That's actually excellent to hear. So my question would be now for the viewers and for the people that would be interested in learning more about the different programs offered at Dalhousie, how could they find out more?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. So it's www.dal.ca and then /CCE. So we'll do that one more time. So www.dal.ca /CCE.
That's excellent to hear. Dr. Dianne Tyers, what a pleasure speaking with you. Wishing all the very best to Dalhousie and all your students.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure.